Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the comprehensive yet informal study of Kant's critique of pure reason. Here with Harrison and Patrick, and today we are in the transcendental deduction of pure concepts of the understanding, the B edition. I forgot to say that last time in section 25 when we covered that in that session, but we are covering the B edition. We have been, and we probably will just continue to do that. So whenever there is a difference, know that we're going with the B edition unless otherwise stated or otherwise shown in the actual uh, page here. So today we're on the transcendental deduction of the universally possible use of the pure concepts of the understanding and experience. So it seems like we're just going to be getting more applying categories and concepts of the understanding to experience. I feel like we've done that before, but he may just be regurgitating things. He's gonna at least regurgitate the aesthetic a little bit, like we saw in the preview of this section in the last thing, the last session. To give some context, we went through section 25, which Patrick succulently, if that's how you use that word, just kind of precisely and efficiently summarized.
Succulently?
I don't know what the. Isn't there some word like that means like efficiently,
Succinctly.
succinctly? I don't know. I can't.
Succulent means juicy.
Oh, oh no! Oh, that's weird. Okay, my bad. Uh, efficiently summarized as and briefly summarized as with just apperception, you get an indeterminate self, and to further determine it, you need intuition. So that's kind of the lesson out of section 25. Very short, very simple and sweet. Unfortunately, Kant didn't write it so, but that's what we're here for. So,
Yep, sweet and juicy.
oh, look at that! It is succulent. So we're making this not succulent, unsucculent, whatever the negation of succulent is, and we're making it succulent. That's
I
dialectics for you,
guess.
baby, or something. That's negation. uh, uh,
Yeah, it's some kind of negation, like everything else.
yeah. Um, so now we're here. That's my context. If there are no if there are no other preliminary comments or context givings, then we can begin reading. Who would
What's
like to
that?
start reading? You wanna
Just
read,
a
Harrison?
reminder about intuition, it's giving.
Very much
Yeah,
appreciated.
it's not active. Concepts of the understanding are
Get
active.
it? It's a zoomer pun. It's giving.
Oh, it's
No?
giving. Oh, I didn't hear the G at the end.
Oh, I see.
Oh, it's giving intuition.
Yeah, yeah. Ha, ha, ha. Pro tip. Ha, ha, ha.
Yeah. Okay. Zoomerism. It's giving intuition. Yeah. Slay. let's let's
Slay.
let's
Oh
slay
wait, I
this
just got it.
transcendental deduction.
I just got it.
Took you a while.
It took me a minute.
Oh, Harrison got it. Yay!
Woo!
Oh, good.
Bruh.
All right. Who wants to read? Harrison, did you say you wanted to read?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay.
In the metaphysical deduction, the origin of the a priori categories in general was established through their complete coincidence with the universal logical functions of thinking. In the transcendental deduction, however, their possibility as a priori cognitions of objects of an intuition in general was exhibited. Section 20 and 21. Now, the possibility of cognizing a priori through categories whatever objects may come before our senses, not as far as the form of their intuition, but rather as far as the laws of their combination are concerned. Thus, the possibility of, as it were, prescribing the law to nature and even making the latter possible, it is to be explained. For if the categories did not serve in this way, it would not become clear why everything that may ever come before our senses must stand under the laws that arise a priori from the understanding alone.
Okay. So I guess he acknowledges my initial confusion at this title because we did kind of cover this in these sections, and I would dare to even say some other sections that I don't remember off the top of my head, but at least these ones. So, but I guess now we have to investigate what's to be explained? The possibility of it, as it were, prescribing law to nature and even making the latter possible is to be, so for some reason we need some further explanation. So
The explanation is basically to understand how like causation, etc., can be applied objectively to things.
yeah, didn't we like I don't know. I could have sworn.
Only in general.
Oh, so he's gonna do it in specific now. Okay.
I think so.
All right. Well, hopefully. All right. So let's see what he has in mind.
I know he eventually does.
Yeah, I know too, but maybe this is it. So let's move on. I'll read this little short one. First of all, I remark that by the synthesis of apprehension, I understand the composition of the manifold in an empirical intuition, through which perception, i.e., empirical consciousness of it, as appearance, becomes possible. So the synthesis of apprehension is the becoming possible of the empirical consciousness.
Apprehension. What is?
So we apprehend we apprehend like intuitions and therefore like empirical objects. Like they're given to us. At least this is how I understand it. So it's the synthesis of apprehension.
Oh, okay. Things given to us.
And that makes perception
possible. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Because
okay.
we synthesize.
Okay.
I don't know why this is like a new term. This seems like an already covered concept, but maybe he's just wrapping it in new verbiage. But I don't know. That seems to be it. Someone want to read this next paragraph? I can read it. We have forms of outer as well as inner sensible intuition a priori in the representations of space and time. Yep. Then the synthesis of the apprehension of the manifold of appearance must always be in agreement with the latter. Okay, since it can only occur in accordance with this form. But space and time are represented a priori not merely as forms of sensible intuition, but also as intuitions themselves, which contain a manifold. Yep, that's correct. And thus with the determination of the unity of this manifold in them. See the transcendental aesthetic for, I guess, more on the unity of the manifold. He says see the transcendental aesthetic, but then he fucking just gives us this this explanation. So I don't even know if this is worth reading.
Namely, the comprehension. Space as represented as an object. Space represented as object, as is really required in geometry, contains more than the mere form of intuition, namely the comprehension of the manifold in accordance with the form of sensibility in an intuitive representation. So that the form of intuition merely gives the manifold, but the formal intuition gives the unity of the representation. Does that make any sense to you?
I don't understand what.
Space represented as object, as is really required in geometry, contains more than the mere form of intuition. Okay, so there's something else besides the form. Namely, the comprehension of the manifold. Comprehension probably meaning... I'm thinking of the word comprehensive, to comprehend everything together.
Okay.
So the entirety of the manifold?
So,
like, com and then prehension of the manifold, given in accordance with the form of sensibility. So it's not just the form
of space, but the ability to
comprehend them together. So I think basically it's this idea that it's not just the form of a triangle, a square, a circle, right? But also the fact that the triangle, square, and circle exist in the same space.
Oh, I thought he was talking about that space was itself a object, kind of. Wait, no, wait. That
Well,
was,
it is. He did.
I thought he was talking about the form of space itself, not.
No, well, he's saying it's not just the form of objects, but it's also the comprehension, the fact that they are one in one
Space.
yes.
In one
So
manifold, I guess.
it's that
So
which
okay, let's keep going because that seems like it already implies apperception, but that might be where he's going with it. But the formal intuition gives the unity of the representation. In the aesthetic, I ascribe this unity merely to sensibility, only in order to note that it precedes all concepts. Though to be sure, it presupposes a synthesis
Aha, yes.
which does not belong to the senses, but through which all concepts of space and time first become possible.
Whoa.
For since it, as the understanding determines the sensibility, space and time are first given as intuitions, the unity of this a priori intuition belongs to space and time, not to the concept of the understanding.
Wait, what the fuck?
So for since it
Wait, how
as
does unity belong to? Oh, unless he's just saying that like in a like a not a non-literal way.
belongs the unity of this okay, let me reread that last sentence.
Yeah.
For since it as the understanding determines the sensibility, space or time are first given as intuitions. The unity of this a priori intuition belongs to space and time, not to concepts
Yeah, what the
of
fuck is that? Little.
Wait, he's just
not
saying
to the
space and
concept.
time is given to space and time.
Okay, hold on. For since it, space and time are first given as intuitions. That's not where I thought he was going with this.
How does unity belong to space and time, and not
does
to the
he say?
concept of the understanding?
Because space
Section
and time are
24.
first given as intuitions, but that doesn't make sense.
That's
It
different.
means like unity as in.
It really seemed to me like he was leading up to, in ordinary. This is where it seemed like it was going. When we do ordinary geometry, right? And when I explained, and when he explained space and time as unities, he explained them as belonging to the sensibility, but actually they required apperception in order to
Right,
unify them.
which he kind
That's
of
where I
already
thought he
said
was
too.
going with them. Well, that's where I thought he was going with this. But then at the end, instead he goes to the unity belongs to space and time, not to the concept of the
Yeah,
understanding.
what the fuck is that?
What do we even mean the concept of the understanding?
Well, like probably the pure concept of the understanding. Like,
So, wait, so normally he would be saying that
No, it's not the pure concept, it's the concept, singular.
of the concept of the.
probably
That's so
that
strange.
specific. Probably unity, right? The unity is a
And
concept of the
I guess
understanding.
namely the idea that unity is a concept, right? Unity is a specific concept of the understanding. So the unity belongs to space and time, not to the concept of unity. Okay.
But what
So
the?
I
How does
think
it
this
belong to space and time?
hold on. I think I understand. I
Okay.
think he's saying that there's the synthesis of apperception, which is a sort of original unity, but it
Yeah.
is not the concept of unity. Right?
Right. He already
We've already
explained that.
established that.
Oh
Right?
wait.
Okay. And therefore, the unity which belongs to space and time is also not this conceptual unity, right, of the
Oh, I was getting my
understanding,
unities
but
confused.
instead
Okay.
derives directly from the a priori unity of apperception.
Perception. Right. Okay.
And in that regard, it belongs to the sensibility and not to the understanding.
Okay. That makes total sense. I was getting my unities confused.
I feel like that explained it to Matt, but I feel like that was pretty
Well,
esoteric. So did you follow that?
So is
Well, Harrison,
non-
you might get this too because you were here
for
when we went
non
over the
for
different
non
unities.
like thinking experience, like for thinking that isn't just like active conceptualization, like just kind of not, of course not everything's passive, but just like passive, like I'm seeing and sensing things and things are happening. That's not the concept of unity. That's transcendental.
Right. So the transcendental unity of apperception, knowing that this is one experience, so to speak, is not the same and is prior to the concept of unity.
The concept of it. Oh yeah, because you don't have to think necessarily in words that this is one
Because
experience.
really
You
every
experience it
concept
as-
is a unity, right? Every single concept is a unity,
Otherwise, it wouldn't be
including
intelligible.
right. Otherwise, it wouldn't be intelligible. Exactly. So unity as a concept is to be distinguished from the transcendental unity of apperception, and also the unity that like is a necessary component of every concept.
I see. Yeah.
It's not clear to me how exactly he makes that distinction, but it is clear to me that it's necessary he does.
Well, he makes it earlier. I think maybe in section 24.
Yeah.
But
Isn't
at the very
No, I
least,
know that he does, but I don't know how he does.
Well, I guess then.
Like, where's the actual substantial difference between the category of unity and the understanding?
I almost then wonder
Yeah.
why
he basically explains
even...
it as like, well, maybe this is already telling you what you know because you didn't know how he does it. But to me, it made sense because he explains that one needs to come before the other. Like there needs
Well, I
to
guess
be.
like,
Yes, I understand that is the why it is necessary and why they are distinct, but they have to be two distinct things. So there needs to
I
be a
don't
difference.
understand where your confusion is.
So you need unity to get unity is the
Yes.
problem,
Well,
right?
they're different
And
unities.
so they have to be distinct.
Yes.
But in what way are those two unities distinct? Call
Well,
one unity 1 and unity 2.
Mm-hmm.
What distinguishes the two of them?
One precedes the other.
yeah.
But that's not a distinction in itself,
I think it
right?
is.
This is like,
Why is it
you
not?
remember force and the understanding, Matt?
Yeah.
The force which solicits and the force which is
Mhm.
solicited.
Yeah.
There's no distinction between the two of them.
I don't think I understand that section well enough to like assert that. I mean, just knowing Hegel and knowing how like things come to a unity in the end, but like Kant's not doing
Maybe
that.
this is what that's about anyway, actually.
Oh God, yeah. If you want to get really, sure, it could very well. Could
Yeah, like
be.
maybe that's what the forces and the understanding is, because like the unity needs to precede the unity. But what's the difference between the unity and the unity? Why doesn't there need to be unity which precedes that unity?
I guess because it's kind of like, well, to me that so
Well,
so
why-
to
well,
me
I
it's
guess
so to
why
make
we-
a Spinozist like maybe this isn't good because there are multiple substances in Spinoza, but to me it's kind of like asking like why isn't there another substance that created the substance? It's like, well, because definitionally we've defined it as like the ultimate underlying thing, so it's kind of seems
Also-
by definition that unity is
Okay.
the most basic.
Well,
And that
because,
other
like-
unity is clearly just
I
an
think we
instance
should double back. I think we should double back because this is an interesting discussion.
to section
but,
24.
Yeah, well, just to
Oh God, wait, no,
clarify
this is the terrible
meaning of
section.
to clarify the meaning of no. I just mean
Oh.
to clarify the meaning of the footnote rather than get off on this tangent about
Oh.
distinguishing between two different kinds of unity. He certainly thinks that there is a distinction between those two different kinds of unity, where one is basically preconceptual unity.
Yeah.
Okay, so this original unity of apperception, right, directly gives unity to space and time without the mediation of the concept of unity.
Yes, that's why I said, oh, I get it now. Like that was my light bulb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So that, I believe, is the meaning.
That makes sense to me. I'm not a Kant scholar. Like I don't want to like somehow like objectively confirm you're correct, but like that makes sense to me. So, Harrison, you got that?
I don't know if the explanation, but just the idea that like there's a difference between transcendental unity, as in like unity that is necessary for experience, and then there's a difference between conceptual unity that makes sense.
Well,
to
they're
me.
both transcendental, but I think in the way you're wording it,
Well,
you
in the
understand.
way I'm
Yes,
thinking about it,
yes,
because
yes,
and then that there's
Original
one,
unity.
yeah.
original unity.
The original unity of apperception.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So that makes sense to you. Okay, and then what was the whole fucking point of this? Like, why did this come up right here? Thus, the determination of the
This
unity.
came up if we look at the
But
the
space-
unity of the manifold. Okay. Space and time are represented not merely as forms, but also as intuitions in themselves, i.e., unities, which contain a manifold.
Oh,
and therefore the determination of this
Hmm.
unity of the manifold. Okay.
Okay, and people
So,
are like,
there you
"What
go.
do you mean by that?" So he goes into this. Okay.
How is it? Yes. Okay.
Okay.
So, thus even
The
was I
unity-
reading?
I think I was reading.
Okay. So,
Thus even the unity of synthetic, or fuck. Thus, even unity of the synthesis of the manifold, outside or within us, hence also a combination with which everything that is to be represented as determined in space and time must agree, is already given a priori, right? Along with not in these intuitions, as condition of the synthesis of all apprehension, which is what you explained before, Patrick. But this synthetic unity can be none other than that of the combination of the manifold of a given intuition in general in an original consciousness. Yay! And agree with the categories. Yay! Only apply to our sensible intuition. Okay, I think this confirms we were right, which is why I'm saying yay. So, okay. Consequently, all synthesis through which even perception itself becomes possible stands under the categories, right? I feel like you said that in a footnote before. And since experience is cognition through connected perceptions, okay, that's an interesting definition of experience that I don't know if he may have been implicit, but he explicitly says it here. Experience is cognition through connected perceptions.
That, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, the categories are conditions of the possibility of experience, and are thus also valid a priori of all objects of okay, so yeah, really I don't think he said anything too new here, but he explained it very nicely, which is rare for Kant. So hats off to you, sir.
Yes.
You've explained your idea of combination and unity of apperception as it applies to like our experience, or as it is our experience. You've explained that, so yippee.
Yippee!
Okay. I feel oddly satisfied, and now I'm like skeptical to see what's gonna come next.
This never happens.
Yeah, really. I'm kind of thrown aback, and especially because also, so that's reason A why I'm thrown aback. Reason B is I'm seeing these fuckers again, these three dots, and last time I saw them, we were sent into a gaslighting session. So watch him be like, actually, apperception is not what you think it is, and apprehension actually means this thing, which is I don't know. I'm scared like something like that's gonna happen. So, does anyone want to read and take these steps into this scary journey?
The unknown abyss.
Yeah, of these three fucking dots. Okay. I can keep reading if no one else wants to, but
I'll do it.
okay. Thanks, Harrison.
Thus, if, e.g., I make the empirical intuition of a house into perception through apprehension of its manifold, my ground is the necessary unity of space and of outer sensible intuition in general, and as it were drawn its shape in agreement with the synthetic unity of the manifold in space. This very same synthetic unity, however, if I abstract from the form of space, has its seat in the understanding, and is the category of the synthesis in the homogeneous, in an intuition in general, i.e., the category of quantity, with which the synthesis of apprehension, i.e., the perception, must therefore be in thoroughgoing agreement.
Wait, hang on. I'm a little confused why he chose quantity.
Quantity, yeah, that's homogeneous. Okay. Is like
that's sure.
Because homogeneous is like many, but they are the same.
Okay, hold on. Unifies form space. Let's see the others.
Is because time he thinks is like quantities on a line.
So if I abstract from the form of space, synthetic unity.
Is it literally because of time?
Category. I'm not sure. Okay, hold on. This is the very same synthetic unity. However, if I abstract from the form of space, has its seat in the understanding.
Right, the original unity, yeah.
And is the category of the synthesis of the homogeneous in an intuition in general. So the synthesis of the homogeneous. So if we have two, like if you have stick and they're the same, one stick plus one stick equals two stick, quantity. So the synthesis of the homogeneous is quantity.
Oh, so you just worded that really autistically.
Well, that kind of makes...
with which the synthesis of apprehension, i.e. the perception must therefore be in thoroughgoing agreement.
You're saying
Okay.
quantity necessarily involves homogeneous because even if two things are like different in
Hold
some
on.
way, they must share the fact
I'm
that
not
they are
sure what his
objects.
point is. Thus, if I make the empirical intuition of a house into perception through the apprehension of its manifold, my ground is the necessary unity of space and of the outer sensible intuition in general. Okay. And is it where it draws? Yeah. Okay. Okay. No, he's just talking about one in space, the other in time.
Right.
He's
Oh,
talking
what?
about
So it is time.
yeah, yeah, right. So he's talking
What?
about space and time also like being
Quantities
no.
or quantifiable.
Space is not no, space is not he's not talking about the quantifiable in space. He's talking about arithmetic versus geometry. Like the first was
Oh.
supposed to be an example of geometry, the second is
Oh,
supposed to be an
arithmetic.
example of
Okay.
arithmetic.
All right. All right. Yeah.
Um
Oh, so
uh,
I guess so in the sense I meant it, yes, it is the
I think
quantifiability,
he's
but
just okay, he's just talking about the fact that outer intuition needs to be in accordance with the principles of geometry and arithmetic basically.
And
yeah.
that they must be quantifiable,
Well,
quantized.
In a weird way,
yes.
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 That like we must quantize them in order to conceptualize them.
We more specifically in
Well, their
we must
appearances. So,
geomatize them and arithmetize them
Yeah,
yes, pretty
appropriately.
much.
which involves quantizing them
We
into
must
units.
Well, he calls
geometrize
it quantizing.
geometrize any kind of outer experience, and we must arithmetize any kind of experience whatsoever. They
Yes,
need to be possibly subject to mathematical comprehension.
yes. That's what I mean by by quantized, as in like
Yes.
units. Like
Mathematized.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah,
We should probably read this footnote.
I think the better term is mathable.
I
They need to be mathable. Okay, I fuck with that. In such a way, it is proved that the synthesis of apprehension, which is empirical, must necessarily be in agreement with the synthesis of apperception, of course, which is intellectual and contained in the category entirely a priori. It is one and the same spontaneity that there under the name of imagination and here under the name of the understanding brings combination into the manifold. Wait, what's that last one? It is one and the same spontaneity that there under the name of imagination and here under the name of understanding brings combination into the manifold of it. Oh, okay. So basically just an experience versus like an imagined experience.
wait,
Yeah, okay. That I don't know why I felt the need to make this. This is
why are you
all
saying
Hmm?
name? Okay, wait. Is one and the same spontaneity. So he's saying that's the same kind of apperception spontaneity that for imagination that also leads to understanding.
it's the same spot. He's basically just saying that it's the same like conceptual, like it's the same act of spontaneity.
Okay, they're both spontaneous.
Yes, they're not passive basically.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And the imagination
That
does
yeah.
not involve apperception.
What's that?
So does the imagination not involve apperception, or
I
does
think literally
No, it
everything
does.
involves apperception.
everything
Literally
involves
everything does.
apperception?
But apperception is always spontaneous. That's his point here. That's his
Well,
point.
so intuitions are not apperception.
They're
They are
combined.
equivalent.
They're combined
Well,
into the
we combined it,
manifold.
but in and of themselves, they aren't apperception.
Well, that's what he was kind of talking about, I think, earlier.
Earlier.
If we want to go back, he
Well,
says
that's
so.
what I mean. I'm just clarifying.
So they're always involved by perception because they're always unified.
In our experience, yes, but he is saying that they do exist outside of this and that outside of that.
This
they-
might be
Outside
why
of our
he brings
experience?
this.
No.
Well, not outside of our
So this issue is so here. Hold on. I think this issue is might be why he brings up like phenomena noumena so late, because that might be the next natural question is well then what the fuck are the intuitions? What are
Well,
like the ununified intuitions?
And it's like if
That
they're
might
if
be
they're
what
not,
he calls noumena.
and how could something?
Well, there
how could
couldn't be an
something
ununified intuition because an intuition is for us.
is for us,
Well,
then
I don't know.
then how can it be passive if it's what?
Well, it's passively received by us, but it doesn't have a self-existence. Space and time so space and time, space and time definitionally are not in themselves. They are for us.
They are for us.
They're
Then what's the difference?
representation.
There is in itself corresponding, according to Kant, to space and time,
Right.
or
This is
that
why
would
he brings up
cause space
noumenon
and
later
time.
on. Yeah.
Right, but it can't be called space and time properly.
Well, yeah. But I guess then, so if they're given to us,
And because they're given to us, we always stand under the unity of apperception, which means that they always stand under the unity of apperception and must accord with the unity of apperception.
but wasn't there like a whole thing we did earlier that was like where there was like the issue of like the given?
Well, there's the problem. What we did earlier was the problem that um, uh, intuition, inner sense is supposed to be an intuition, which means it's supposed to be passive. But
Yeah.
how can it be passive if it's inner or part of us?
Yes.
That seems to be his problem, basically. It's
then-
given to us.
But
The question is, by whom? The answer seems to be by us, because it's an
Well, yeah.
inner sense.
and also when he says outer,
But
like
that
when he says
seems to be a
outer,
misnomer.
but when
like-
when he says like outer sense, like is that actually like outer, or is it perceived as outer? Like what does he mean by out? Like why does he use the word outer if there isn't?
So the
if it
word
is not-
outer means that intuitions which are outside of us must stand under the. Basically, the form of intuitions outside of our subjectivity are space. The form of all intuitions, whatever, inside or outside, is time. Meaning that even our intuition of ourself. So, for instance, like Kant says that Kant wouldn't identify you with your body.
Yeah.
Right? You can't identify yourself with your body. Therefore, when you think of pure apperception, there's nothing spatial there. But it is temporal.
Yes.
So because it's temporal but not spatial, it's the form of space is the form of outer intuition, whereas time is the form of all intuition.
I see. But it's outer, but it's not noumena.
Yeah, no, outer
Yeah.
meaning outside, like objective for us, like an object,
An object.
external world,
So perceptually, the what we perceive as
the
outer
external world of appearances,
I see.
But
right?
for him,
So
internal
there's
world is
the
also
internal
appearance.
world, which is also appearance, yes,
For Kant.
and an external world, which is also appearance. They're both appearance. And then there's a noumenal world.
Which we'll get to later.
Yes.
But the inner world does not need to stand under the condition of space. Only time.
I see. I understand. Okay. And that's why the distinction is there.
Yes.
Because I see. Okay. Because I was gonna. Okay, that makes more sense then.
Cool. Okay. So that's this footnote and this paragraph. Does anyone want to read this next paragraph starting with if?
I could go again if no one else wants to go.
I'll read it to break it up, and then maybe you can read the next one if no one else wants to read.
Yeah.
If, in another example, I perceive the freezing of water, I apprehend two states of fluidity and solidity as one standing in a relation of time to each other. But in time, on which I ground the appearance as inner intuition, I represent necessary synthetic unity of the manifold, without which that relation could not be determinately given in an intuition with regard to the temporal sequence. But now, the synthetic unity, as the a priori condition under which I combine the manifold of an intuition in general, if I abstract from the constant form of my inner intuition, time is a category of cause. Oh, here we go. Cause. Through which, if I apply it to my sensibility, I determine everything that happens in time in general as far as its relation is concerned. Thus, the apprehension in such an occurrence, hence the occurrence itself, as far as possible perception is concerned, stands under the concept of relation, of effects and causes, and so in other cases. Okay, so here we have it. His fucking answer to Hume. Like, deliberately and explicitly. Like, all right here in this little 3-dot section.
Yeah.
I ground the unity synthetic. But now the synthetic unity, if I okay, and then continue. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we have it.
I
We did it, boys!
Well, it still only answers half of.
No, I know
Hume.
half, but I'm just saying, like, well, that's not what I meant.
It doesn't
Sorry.
answer the actual problem of induction,
No,
but
I
it
know,
does.
I know.
Yes.
But what I
Yes.
meant.
So basically,
Yeah.
right. Yes. So it's the fact that time has to be synthesized together, right? Time is synthesized by us. It is thought by us, and therefore,
Cause
time.
is also as well.
Yeah. The like the synthesis of time in accordance with thought simply is causation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I see now. I see why Schopenhauer grounded all phenomena in the law of causality. He got it like pretty much from this, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Yeah,
that was a weird like
okay.
esoteric reference, but
I remember that's because I remember when we were having that discussion about like the whole thing, and I remember you mentioned the problem. Okay, that makes. I was thinking about, but like, isn't like thought and like necessary experience also just in causation definitionally? Then wait, then what's the other half
oh, the problem
of the problem then?
of
How,
why
if this
does
doesn't
The other
solve
why
half of the problem is the problem of induction itself, not the problem of causation as such. Basically, how can we derive particular causal laws
I see.
when again all we do actually see is constant conjunction,
I
right?
see.
It
So
might make sense that there has to be a law of cause and effect underlying things, but how can we determine
which
even with any
causes
kind
are
of
which
probability
effects
what
are,
kind of causes lead to what effects?
yeah.
I see. I see.
But there is underlying causation. Yay, and we got it. So this is his answer.
But underlying cause, as in,
Like there is cause and effect. We just can't. We're really bad at pointing out which causes are which effects. Like or maybe not even bad necessarily, but we have no way of knowing which like causes or what cause which effects for sure. Like there's always some sort of degree of probability in there instead of like a priori certainty.
does it outline that there is
There
cause?
is the problem is that there isn't even probability is the actual problem,
Okay,
because
yeah.
probability assumes that the future will resemble the past.
Well, that's
Yeah.
exactly it, though. That's my.
Then is it even that there is cause, or is it just that like what there is things that we necessarily through thinking like connect things in time?
Nope, he's showing that there's cause. Like there needs to be a law by which one thing follows another,
Or
according to
oh,
like a principle of
because
thought, because
I
they are
see
unified by the capacity of thought.
and because there is a necessarily a reason that things happen to follow from each other.
Yes,
Yeah,
necessarily
so there
so.
has to be a reason for anything that happens in the world of appearance.
But
It is bound by causality in general.
but if you tried to find it, all you would have is like, at least as of now,
You're
fallacious
making
reasoning.
guesses.
Yeah, exactly. Guesses based on like reasoning that can't really be well justified.
I think I like half conceptualize it, but this does definitely make more sense.
Okay, good. Yeah.
I'll definitely have to explore it further though.
Yeah, yeah, definitely think about it and lay on that, and you'll get it, and we're here to talk about it in the future as well, if you like.
Of course.
But so That's cool. Are the first 3 fucking dots were really bad, and the next 3 fucking dots were a huge moment in the history of philosophy. So, wow, Kant and the way he organizes this book never ceases to amaze me.
Then principle of sufficient reason is saved.
Yes,
Okay.
I think so.
That's
Well,
awesome.
but
Principle of
only
sufficient
for
reason in
appearance.
phenomenon. In phenomenon.
Yeah, in
In
phenomenon.
phenomenon. Okay, in phenomenon.
It's not saved for noumenon.
Not that makes more sense.
Not by
Okay.
Kant right here. Let's be as clear as we can, I think, because these are like
In
huge. These are
phenomenon.
very broad terms that cover lots of philosophers and philosophies.
Yes.
So in regards to like phenomenon in Kant's philosophy, he has
He
established
has saved the
causality.
principle.
Okay. There
So
we go.
rip people who believe in brute facts in phenomenon. That's not
Yeah.
happening.
Sorry, David Hume.
Sorry, Professor Anderson. He believes in brute facts.
Oh, he does? What the fuck?
Yeah, I was having that discussion with him when we talked Spinoza. I'm like, there has to be a reason for everything. And he's like, yeah, you think so? I don't think so.
Oh shit, dude. Bro, Anderson needs to read the fucking critique.
I guess so.
I at least want to see like what he says. Like, I'm not saying he has to accept it, obviously, but like I want to see like what he says.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to show Anderson this video.
Right.
That'd be dope.
Yeah.
Sorry, I swear a lot, Professor. This is a
Well, I
comprehensive
hope
yet
I'm not
informal.
representing his position, I should say.
Yeah.
I don't think I am, not deliberately.
I
Certainly.
just didn't know that, and so I
I
can't
know
really
that people defend brute facts. I mean, most naturalists defend brute facts, I think.
I don't think is he even Anderson didn't really tell me what he believes.
I don't know whether he's a naturalist. I think he's just
We should read
not
his
sure
work.
whether there are brute facts or not.
He's more.
I
Of
don't
like
think
a
he
skeptic.
knows.
More of like a,
Yeah, I think he's skeptical about whether we know whether there are
So he's
brute
not
facts
making
or
like a
not.
positive claim like there are in,
That there are brute facts. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I wanna show him this part of the critique. Maybe I'll just send him this video or something. Lol. Okay. So big 3 dots. Big 3 dots. I'm very pleased with that.
So just to clarify, in noumena, causation isn't like necessary.
We don't really know.
We don't know.
We can't fucking know. In Kant.
Okay, there we go. In Kant.
Yeah, very yeah. We'll get there. We'll find out more and we'll read more and we'll comment more on what other philosophers might have said about it later on. But for now, yeah, phenomenon has causality. That's really all we need to know. We'll get to nuanced shit later. Because he's gonna directly spell out what he thinks about that. So we'll get there. Okay. Does anyone want to read this next thing following the 3 dots? Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. You went first. Okay.
You read this one, Patrick, or read the next one.
Okay. Okay, so categories are concepts that prescribe laws a priori to appearances. Thus, to nature as the sum total of all appearances. Natura material spectata. Yeah. And since they are not derived from nature and do not follow it as their pattern, for otherwise they would be merely empirical, the question arises how it is to be conceived that nature must follow them, i.e., how they can determine a priori the combination of the manifold of nature without deriving from the latter. Here's the solution to this riddle. I think didn't he already do this? Didn't he already do this?
Just do this.
Like at least twice? Okay.
Well,
continuing.
He may be. My guess is that he may be going after the second problem of induction. That would be my guess.
Oh my god. Okay.
It is
crazy. No, I really doubt it because even just skimming it, it looks like he's repeating himself. Okay. But we'll keep going. Okay. It is by no means stranger that laws of appearance in nature must agree with the understanding in its a priori form, i.e., its faculty of combining the manifold in general, then that appearances themselves must agree with the form of sensible intuition a priori. For laws exist just as little in the appearances, but rather exist only relative to the subject in which the appearances inhere, insofar as it has the understanding. As appearances do not exist in themselves, but only relative to the same being insofar as it has senses. The lawfulness of things in themselves would necessarily pertain to them even without an understanding that cognizes them. But appearances are only representations of things that exist without cognition of what they might be in themselves. As mere representations, however, they stand under no law of connection at all, except that which the connecting faculty prescribes.
Mhm.
Now, that which connects the manifold of sensible intuition is the imagination. Still don't see how that is, which depends on the understanding for the unity of the intellectual synthesis and on sensibility for the manifoldness of its apprehension.
Oh, wait. Can I shoot like a theory?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
So, Patrick, you know how you say the second problem uh oh wait, actually this might be really retarded, but I'm still going to say it anyway cuz in case it's not. The more
Bruh.
sorry. Okay. Okay. So the second problem, right? Of the David Hume thing, which is induction,
Uh-huh.
has to do with the fact that okay, well the past, why do we think that the past will resemble the past? Because it has in the past. Okay,
Yeah.
is an alternative answer to that gets us out of that circle? Will the past, um, not, or okay, will the past resemble the past because we imagine it to be so, and because that's in the process of
Is there an a priori law that says that the future must resemble the past?
I guess if we imagine it to be so
Like,
necessarily.
I guess when we're
what is that law? What is that law? Like, what law of where do I contradict myself or like run into an issue with the understanding if I posit that the future will not resemble the past?
Because that goes against imagination.
I don't think that that's what that
it
means.
goes against the
Listen, but okay,
Because I didn't
imagination.
imagine it to be so. I think you're on your wizard shit again.
right? Okay, right. But here's the thing, because in Kant, which might be just stupid because we don't really see how this makes sense. But if you grant Kant that imagination is an essential step in the synthesis of not just the synthesis of imagination, but also a necessary step in the synthesis of apperception, which is experience. If imagination is somehow necessarily connected to like the full apperception of experience, then
But
imagination plays some essential role in our actual
whatever I
experience.
imagine to happen doesn't then happen just because of that.
Right,
Well,
It's
because
just that the faculty of
okay,
imagination in
hear me out.
general.
Hear me
But I
out.
am capable of imagining a future which does not resemble the past.
Hear me out. What if we have a posteriori imaginations and a priori? I don't really. Okay, I don't know, but if it is
a
possible
priori.
that just hear me out for the
I
I think I'm
okay.
on my wizard shit, but just in case, just in
Shadow
case.
Wizard Money Gang. We
Yo,
love
we
spells.
love casting a priori imagination. uh,
Bees make honey.
here's the thing. Here's my theory, which might be really out there, but if there is such thing as some sort of like a priori imagination that would then like inherently go into our apperception of experience, and one of those
Uh-huh.
is the law that the past must resemble itself, or the future must resemble the past. Sorry, if that's necessarily located in the necessary part of our imagination that describes our experience necessarily in the law of causality, then it is possible.
Imagination, well, the problem is imagination is a faculty. It doesn't have any laws outside of those provided by sensibility and the understanding, right? So he described the imagination before as figurative, right? It creates a figure from the forms of intuition, i.e., space and time,
Right,
using the understanding.
right.
So
So the
the
question is, how does that
law
affect our
that
apperception?
causes right, but there's not going to be any law that comes from the imagination. The law is either going to come from the nature of well, actually the law necessarily as law has to come from the understanding.
Well, it's just
The
he
form
just
of
said
it might
lawfulness
come.
of things in themselves will necessarily, even without an understanding that. Oh well, no, hold on, that's not what we're talking about. But
No. That's not what he's talking about. The
Right.
lawfulness of things in themselves, right?
So
That's a
different.
whole different thing.
But however, they stand under the law of connection at all, which the connecting faculty prescribes. So sorry, this is what I meant
Right,
to
but
point
the
at.
connecting faculty has to prescribe it. You would have to show that such a law does actually exist in our mind.
Right, but
Which
if we
Kant
can show
does
it in
not.
our, but like mathematical laws, if we can show it in our imagination.
Oh, sure. There's nothing. I agree that mathematical laws, the future
Right.
will resemble the past in terms of math being the same,
Right,
but
but
that's
if
not
we
the
can
same.
do that, if
That's
we
not an
can do
induction.
that somehow with like.
Yes, that would follow, but he doesn't do that. Is what I'm saying.
We'll
Right.
figure it
Okay.
out. We'll do
Okay.
it.
But
But
you're
it
following
wouldn't
what
be a
I'm
law
saying,
from
right?
the imagination. It would be
If
a
he
law of the
does that,
understanding.
if that is
Yes.
if that can be done, then
Yes.
okay.
If that could be done, if he can show that the future has to resemble the past, but
Which
the
might be
problem is
possible through imagination.
but
Is what I'm
such a well, it wouldn't be
speculating.
through imagination. It would be through the understanding.
Right, but if we can show it through imagination, if we can demonstrate it.
It would be demonstrated in imagination, but the law itself would pertain
Right.
to the understanding, not imagination.
Oh, okay. Right.
Imagination would just be the faculty of putting the laws of the understanding so as sort of in concreto.
Yeah, a demonstration, right.
Right, exactly. Demonstrating, describe, making a figure out of those laws.
Okay.
But it wouldn't be the
But I'm
imagination
saying
doing it, it would be the
what
understanding.
if we can find some law that is demonstrated in our imagination that shows that the future will resemble the past, not only in
If you could, then yes, that would solve Hume's problem. But even that, as formulated, is basically too vague because the future only tends to resemble the past, and as a tendency, it can't be a law.
Right. Well. That's our empirical experience, but we have
But we are talking about induction.
but we have some sort
Induction
of
by
inner sense,
nature.
so to speak, of
Okay,
that it
but
will
we're talking
resemble.
about inductions, right? The nature of induction is to observe things empirically and then make a
Right.
probabilistic
So
judgment.
what if it's not a problem of induction anymore? What if it's a problem of we just don't understand how the understanding works, and we need to demonstrate it through imagination?
No, but I'm saying one, there aren't any deductive laws of nature, right?
Oh fuck! So I'm just on my wizard shit again.
Yep, there aren't any deductive
Ah!
laws of nature, and an
Goddamn.
inductive law of nature would need to demonstrate that induction is valid for establishing probability. But the only basis for induction establishing probability is the sample we already have. So it's cyclical.
So then what would
The problem
so
seems to
how
be, yes, it's true. If you could somehow create a law of induction, yes, then of course it would stand under the laws of induction. But by nature, it's a probability rather than a law. So you couldn't.
right? So the goal, we need to somehow demonstrate in imagination the law of induction, if such a thing exists.
But you can't. Because in order for it to be a priori, it has to be necessary and universal. He
Yeah.
already established that those are the rules.
Mhm.
But any kind of inductive principle would need to show that things do not follow necessarily or universally, but only probably.
So what if the so that just goes back to what I was saying. What if it's not a problem of induction? What if it's something else? Oh, but you're saying nature can't have those kinds of rules?
Nature cannot have those kinds of rules. Right,
Why
that's what I'm
not?
saying. Well, why not?
Why not?
I think you would need to demonstrate what those rules. I mean, the answer is it actually does. Namely those of mathematics and of pure metaphysics,
And of up here.
Yeah, sure, but that's a generality. The fact that they're from any, like the PSR applies,
Yeah.
that is not science. That the PSR applies to synthesis is sure a necessary ground of science, but it doesn't actually tell us about what determinate experiences to like expect in the future.
By the way, viewers, he's talking about natural science, because I know we.
I am talking about natural science, and I'm talking about the fact that Hume's problem of induction pokes a big hole in natural science that is not solved by Kant.
Well, potentially could be. Kant lays the groundwork in such a way that it could be solved. I would argue.
I don't know that it can be solved through appeal to anything but divine goodwill.
All right. Well,
That's my current solution to it.
Historically speaking, things that have previously been deferred to divine goodwill have then be shown to be laws of the understanding. So
That's true, but the problem of induction has hung around a while.
right. All right. I'm gonna try to do it. I want to
How
do
to
it.
solve the problem of
I
induction.
want to do it. I want to do
Wait,
it. So
I also by
But you
assuming that
don't
the
want to
problem-
solve the problem of induction because every time you do, you're like, but deduction's so much cooler though.
right. I'm gonna solve it by. I'm gonna do a Wittgensteinian move. I'm gonna solve it by explaining that the whole problem is actually just stupid. We need something else.
Yeah. I don't
Alrighty.
know.
Well, that's my theory. Thanks for letting me throw it out there. Sorry, I didn't save that for the end of the. We still have like to pick up. I
Do
think.
you follow any of that, Harrison?
Yes, and I got nothing to say.
Okay. If you have
I don't
questions,
know.
I'd say probably
Well,
save them for later because we should probably.
I
finish this
guess
paragraph.
I guess it's like we would. What I gather is that in order to solve the problem of induction, you don't solve the problem of induction. You just find a way to find the laws of nature through deduction. But then it's like, well, can you do that?
Well, that's Matt. That seemed to be what Matt was saying, but it's true.
Yeah.
Actually, you can find laws of nature through deduction, but those are pretty limited in scope. They're basically the mathematical and pure metaphysical laws of nature.
Right. So
The
I'm
question is
saying.
about
I'm
natural
saying.
science.
Well, is there a point where those two things meet?
Well, here's where they meet. Right here.
Yeah, I guess it's like.
But also, I'm saying we can. So. We can. I'm saying we can apply this in some sort of necessary way, like to individual. I'm arguing that we can go a step further than what Kant says here, or I'm not arguing that we can. I'm arguing that I'm postulating that we may be able to go further than Kant here, and apply these to specific instances in the natural world.
I, for the most part, agree with Pat, and what I'm about to say might be.
The more I'm like just explaining that, the more I'm actually realizing like the contradictions that. Like...
Well, no, wait, but I mostly agree with Pat, but I do what I'm about to say might be kind of stupid, but like, isn't by talking about how the problem of induction can't, like, if we were to say that it can never be solved, are we not also kind of doing induction?
No, we're doing.
I never said that it can never be solved. I'm not interested in saying that it can never be solved.
Okay.
Even though, like, logically, I can't think of any way for it to be solved. I certainly believe that induction is possible in my everyday life. I certainly act like it's true. So I would be actually surprised if there is no solution, emotively, so to speak. But
what do you mean by
Kant doesn't solve it. Well, meaning I follow inductive principles. I believe in principles that have come to me through induction.
If there's a car driving in front of you, you're gonna get like,
yeah,
get out of the way.
I get out of the way. Like I am a living being.
I have no reason to believe that this car will not hit me.
Yeah, exactly. I am a living being.
But,
so
here's what I'm arguing. I can make my theory clearer from that thing. So what you're doing when you're following induction is that you're imagining, ding 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 ding, a scenario in which certain laws will be followed, and then
sure, but there's no law that indicates that it will be.
Yeah, but it seems like there's something there in that imaginative process. There seems like there's something necessary there. So I don't know. I want to investigate that more.
I don't see what's necessary about it because I could also imagine a car hitting me, stopping, like doing no damage to me, and then like puffing and exploding into a cotton candy.
I'm saying there's an interesting, seemingly necessary reason why we imagine one and not the other.
I guess it's like, would we be like, we would have to be defining like the necessity of the universal we would be trying to
It
find
doesn't seem to be necessary to me. I mean, maybe in the broad Sadler sense, but I tend to disagree with Sadler in his construction of necessity in Hegel. I actually think it is a more traditional vision of necessity.
So,
Okay.
well,
But that's
would we have to find some way to find necessity and like just instinct?
Yes,
Because it's
basically that's what I'm. Yeah, that's
like we would have to
that's
be
my
I
like
theory.
think that's where you
necessity
were
to the
going. You were talking about a different kind of necessity, basically. But I wouldn't agree that that is necessity. That like that's not.
Yeah.
No, I'm
yeah,
not
that
saying that's
doesn't.
necessity in itself. I'm just saying that's what made me think of like that. There's some sort of.
That's actually Hume. Like what you're doing is actually what Hume did. Like he said that there is a law of association where we can't erase it. Like we can't erase this force of like imagining that if I get hit by the car, then I'm going to do damage. So that's actually the kind of necessity Hume's talking about, as a matter of fact.
Oh.
You're giving Hume's own solution, but it's not a logical solution, and he admits it as such. He's simply saying that, like, emotively, this is how we act.
Right, but I wanna try to use Kant's groundwork to try to go further into that. Is basically what I'm saying. I don't know if I can, but that's my initial speculation and imagined mission. So, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Thanks for coming to your TED Talk. One day, Matt will solve the problem of induction, I'm sure.
He is sure. Yay.
I'm
We'll
not
see.
sure.
No, I'm not
really
either. I'm not
skeptical.
either. This is
I
like
tend to doubt.
this is big time speculation for me. But anyway, do we want to move on with this paragraph and finish this section? We're almost
Sure.
done.
Oh yeah,
We're
we felt like we were done already, but I guess we're not.
we're picking
Are
up
we?
from now. No, sorry, I rudely.
Was I
interrupted.
reading? I think
yes,
so.
you were. Yep.
Now, since all possible perception depends on the synthesis of apprehension, but the latter itself, this empirical synthesis, depends on the transcendental one, thus on the categories, all possible perceptions, hence everything that can ever reach empirical consciousness, i.e., all appearances of nature, as far as their combination is concerned, stand under the categories, on which nature, considered merely as nature in general, depends, as the original ground of its necessary lawfulness, as natura formale, I don't care. The pure faculty of understanding does not suffice, however, to prescribe to those appearances through the mere categories a priori laws beyond those on which rests nature in general,
Oh, hell
as
no,
lawfulness
bro.
of appearances in space and time.
Hell no, bro.
Particular laws, because they concern empirically determined appearances, cannot be completely derived from the categories, although they stand under them. Experience must be added in order to know those particular laws at all.
Oh,
But
so he contradicts
about
his own nature wizard shit from earlier.
No, he just doesn't understand it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like he's like, you can't be a nature wizard, you have to use induction. He just doesn't understand that Hume posed two problems. He simply only understands one of the problems.
No, but he's admitting the other one right here.
No, that's not admitting the problem of induction. That's admitting that induction is necessary.
Oh. Okay. I see.
Yeah. But he doesn't recognize the problem of induction.
Okay, right. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Experience must be added in order to come to know particular laws at all.
Oh, because he says you
But
can
about
know
experience,
them. Okay.
But about experience in general, and about that which we can be cognized as an object of experience, only those a priori laws offer instruction.
No!
Screams. No, 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 no. Yes, 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 yes. No, 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 no.
Let me be a nature wizard.
Please.
I'm gonna break the game. I'm gonna break the laws of cognition. I'm gonna do
Please
it.
do it. We gotta do it.
I'm gonna become a metaphysical. I'm just gonna ascend. I'm gonna be that other kind of cognition that Kant keeps alluding to, that just fucking like can do all these things that we can't do.
You're gonna be intellectual intuition, is what you're gonna do.
I will. I will simply avoid the antinomies as well later.
Antinomies, just pick one.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll basically just be a delusion. I will have no like I'll have no like Hegelian negativity. I'll just fucking positively posit all this shit, and I don't know enough to lose to say that.
Is Deleuze a positivist?
Not in the sense of like
No.
logical positivism. Deleuze is a positivist in the sense that he thinks he can avoid Hegelian negation, which is like he's been heavily criticized for, and I don't think lots of people actually most people when they read Deleuze, they're like, oh, this is just Hegelian negation, and he thinks
But
positivity is like positivity. His positive logic is basically just a
Negative.
reformation
It's
of
just-
Hegel's negativity, and he didn't
It's
realize
just
it. That's
is
the
the glass half
consensus.
empty? Like glass half empty or half full, kind of thing.
I guess so. Yeah, you could draw a comparison to it in that way,
It's like it's the same thing. You're just
applying
like
it to
being like
logic.
yeah.
Sure. To my understanding, my limited understanding, yeah.
Nah, negativity is based.
I agree. I'm more on the negative side in reality.
I'm not sure that you can just substitute positive for negative and it will have the same effect.
Well, that's his. Well, his argument
Well,
is
is-
that Hegel misunderstood his own. I don't know. Everyone just by the time you get that point in philosophy, everyone accuses of each other of misunderstanding like reality. So they all have their own different formulations and conceptions. But the consensus of Deleuze, at least that I've seen, is that no, he actually just like basically ends up like explaining dialectics, and it's just like through negativity, and he didn't even realize it. So I don't know. I haven't read Difference in Repetition. I don't actually know. I'm just spouting shit I've seen, so I can't actually say for sure. My joke was that I'm gonna do what Deleuze thinks he's doing and completely avoid negativity and completely avoid this whole process, and I'm just gonna ascend, and I'm gonna just avoid the antinomies and just positively
Negation? Never heard of it.
yeah, and I'm just going to completely posit everything, and it's gonna still have identity anyway, even if there's no negation. I don't know, and because of that, I can spawn in particular laws, and I don't have to empirically determine them.
Mod the game.
Yeah, I can literally mod the game.
Yep, for sure.
Fuck.
Shadow Wizard Money Gang.
It's broke. The Shadow Wizard Money Gang is broke because of this little thing here. Well, that's section 26.
Spells. Can't afford spells. Please send shadow money to Matt so he can afford his spells.
Yeah, so I can posit particular laws. A priori.
Please make honey.
That's
a law.
So I can
That's an a priori law.
So I can completely derive them from the categories, and they will still stand under them.
Yep. Bees make honey.
Ugh. So sad. Well, that's an
Legalize
hour and 7
nuclear
minutes.
bombs.
I don't even have any Kantian advice for you. This is depressing. I'm sad.
Kantian advice.
My Kantian advice is still follow your intuition.
Yeah, even if just follow your intuition that induction seems to hold.
Yeah.
It's I can't justify that advice, but I advise it nevertheless.
Something about it makes us want us to claim that we know.
You know, I just feel like if I walk into the street, there's like it's not gonna, transform into cotton candy. It's just it doesn't seem like it will. I've been doing some thinking and I don't think so.
Doing some thinking.
We've been casting some spells and we seem to have come up with this.
The council has made a determination.
Yes. This is just fascism. This is just fascism right here. We have no actual. We're just completely through our own authority of the council advising this.
Exactly.
There's been no like democratic consensus.
There's no reason.
There's no a priori reason. There's no democratic consensus. We're just
There's no a posteriori reason either.
no. There's no and
There's
all
no
there is
reason at all.
fascism. There's just a council,
It's
and
just
we're telling you
brute
what to do.
fact. Yep.
It's the will to power. Holy shit. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Holy. Is this what Nietzsche meant? Is this Nietzsche's destruction of Kant? Or I guess it would be a destruction of Hume. I don't know.
I don't. Well, no, it's not a destruction of Hume. It's a vilification. It's
Affirmation of
a
Hume?
affirmation of Hume.
Hmm.
I think Nietzsche and Hume have some resonances.
They do. They actually do. That's actually, this isn't even just a joke anymore. That is an interesting.
Yeah, I mean, like
so.
Hume's a sentimentalist in morals, so
Yep.
I think there's a lot.
I really like Hume's morals. They're really cool.
No, Hume's based.
Hume is based.
Hume's-
Read Hume. We should do a comprehensive study of Hume.
I feel like you can't even take someone seriously if they're not like, oh yeah, Hume's one of the goats.
Yeah. Is there anyone who doesn't
Like-
say that?
I don't think so. Like everyone acknowledges Hume.
Yeah.
Finane.
Who?
You remember Adam?
Oh, does he hate Hume?
Yes. Yeah. No, he does.
Like in
Well,
terms
that's
of
just ignorant. Sorry, buddy.
wait.
He's the guy that like he's always like.
Hold on. I know he dislikes Hume's ideas, but does he not acknowledge Hume as like a very important like?
I think he probably. I honestly, I don't know. I think he.
I
think,
view
like,
Adam
probably
more
his-
as more as a Kant in the sense of like he disagrees with him, but he respects him.
Yeah, I mean,
he
I
awoke him
disagree
from
with
the dogmatic slumber.
but like
Yeah.
you got to read Hume, guys.
Of course you do. Yeah.
You got to read Hume.
He will awake you from your dogmatic slumber, even if you disagree with
He
him.
will. He do be awakening people from their dogmatic slumber.
He woke
though.
me from my dogmatic slumber. I shit my pants when I read Hume. Like it's good
Stay
philosophy.
woke. Read Hume.
It's good
Yes.
philosophy. That's my Kantian advice of the day. Read fucking Hume and follow.
Read Hume.
Follow
Yeah.
your follow your intuition, not Kantian intuition, but follow your ordinary.
Yeah,
sense of
read
intuition.
100% read Hume. That's advice for everyone. That's advice everyone.
It's
can
even
get
in
behind.
our here. Let me go to our reading list.
It is in our reading
It's
list.
in-
Of
it's in
course, it's in
here.
our fucking reading list.
Yeah.
You got to read Hume.
There we go.
Right there.
Right there. Read that. That's our advice. Okay, and follow intuition of induction, even if you can't justify it yet. Maybe someone will. Maybe I will. Stay tuned for the solution of the.
Next
For
time.
somebody.
tuned for the solution of the problem of induction.
Maybe work on it yourself. Maybe one of you will do it.
Yeah.
Good luck if you're doing that. All right. We'll see you next time for what's the next one?
The solution of the problem of induction.
Yes,
And Matt, all of the problem of induction. Find out next time on Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, I'm on the, or let me end the recording so I can talk about Dragon Ball with you. But all right, I'm ending. Goodbye.